All right, everybody. We are doing something a little different tonight, and tonight is a community unity time for the stream. So it's not really about us here. We are going to talk a little bit about this and a little bit about that. We're going to talk about some stuff that's been happening in the community, in the news cycle, and then if we're lucky and we get to our goal for the night, then Santa's going to come in and drop us um, some spoilers. So he's got some juice, I guess, for the Grogu Mando movie. So if we can get Scotty to our goal and everything works out, then we're going to get a little bit of a teaser spoiler, and we're going to have a bunch of people just randomly come through throughout the stream. The goal today, if you haven't already, get over to Scotty Hawks. If you guys don't know, we'll go ahead and drop it in the comments, and make sure to get over there and check out his channel and what he's doing, and give him a subscribe. We're trying to get him to his finish line of 500 subscribers today. That's the whole point and the goal. Things do look a little different. Shiv is mentioning things are a little different. We're not in the studio today. We're coming from an undisclosed location. Shh, don't tell anybody. But yeah, go adopt Scotty Hawks. And then here is the site on YouTube. Here's the channel URL. So go ahead and typey in your browser. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and let's try to get him to that finish line, because that's what today's about. Today's about more of a community stream, not so much about me or about the channel here. It's more about the community. And today we get to help a friend push over the finish line, and we get to help a channel get monetized because he's on the precipice. I know that his streams have really been pushing every day lately. So yeah, so we're gonna get over there and we're gonna go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and let's get him across the finish line. There's URL. I'm just gonna leave it up for the moment. And then yeah, so we're gonna have some people come on through. We're gonna hang out. We're gonna talk about how everybody's feeling about what's going on in the Star Wars community and universe. So let's go ahead and check in, and let's see. Oh, we have somebody already in the back. Let's go ahead and bring in Q. Up, dude. Up, hold on.
So,
What's going on? How are you, sir?
oh, good, good. Busy, tired.
Excellent.
How's it going?
Yes. It's good, man. We're getting it's an exciting time because we haven't gotten to do any community unity stuff in a long time.
It's been a
And so
minute.
this is a great time to do this, and we're excited to be able to. What's up, Santa? Hello.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh
What's
boy.
cracking? What's
Hey,
cracking
Santa.
from the Great White North?
Yeah, I'm excited to be with you guys today, and excited that when we get Scotty over that number, I can share some exclusive leak with you for the Mando Grogu movie.
Yep, that's what we
I
were
got
hearing.
permission, and this is exclusive. It's not been shared by anyone on any outlet, and it's been 100% verified. So,
Well, there you go. So for spoilers, we're gonna, like I said, I don't have my regular presence. I don't have my studio behind me. I'm in a undisclosed secret location for this one, so I didn't get to set up the studio today. So things are running a little different. I don't have all my typies and my addies and all my fun stuff going on with me. So yeah, we're just gonna do this basically guerrilla style, and just have a good time with it. So I haven't really gotten to talk to you guys specifically. So while I have you, because I've pretty much got everybody else's impression, are you guys caught up on Skeleton Crew? Is everybody up to
Oh yeah,
bank?
yeah. I watched all of it.
What are your thoughts? Because I know we've talked about it at nauseum here with with Scotty and Sheev and Mafia, but I haven't. I do watch Santa's stream, so I've kind of got it just there. But Q, we haven't really gotten to hear a lot of your thoughts, so I'm really interested. You have little ones running around. You have family that you're watching this with, I'm sure. So what's the feeling coming from
Actually,
Gen
it's
Alpha?
It's actually it was only me, honestly. The kids,
Oh,
one's 5, the other's 2. They don't really they're not there yet, you know.
not there yet.
No, I try to get them to sit down and watch certain things, and they're just like put on Bubble Guppies. So if anything, Jedi Academy would come would be put on.
Correct.
But
Correct.
I thought I think I'm among the minority who probably really enjoyed it. I thought that I mean, I still go on X and I see, critics of everything, right? So I'm saying I'm in the minority only because of that, really. But I thought that it was a very fresh breath of air, I should say,
Yeah.
especially after the Acolyte. Acolyte was disappointing to me, and I won't go into details, but that was disappointing. But Skeleton Crew, I was really worried about it. I thought that they were going to drop the ball, and the only thing I disliked was probably the last episode at the end, how things got like tied up kind of perfectly. Which honestly might have been a great thing. There was like really no tie in to anything else. It was just kind of like, hey, here's it's a great ending to the show. Here's the moon. We're good. Show's over,
Right.
right? But I think the tease that there being a possible Jedi and then he not end up being a Jedi was great. I liked that we got the High Republic lightsaber in there. That was really cool. We get these little teases so far through the content that they've been dropping from from the High Republic era. And what were the aliens in the game that were referred to, that like those ancient aliens?
You're talking about the Nile,
No,
the
not
Grit.
I'm talking about like in Jedi Survivor and the games with Cal, right? There's
Yeah,
those aliens. Shoot, I can't remember their names.
I think it's the Nile.
Is it? I don't think it's a now. I think it's something else. Maybe it is a now. But
Well,
right. So like the one old one was like referenced as being like he was on Dathomir. There was a temple in Dathomir, right? The really old alien who started a cult, right? We get like little sprinklings of that stuff throughout the new content that they're dropping. So I'm hoping that we get more connections to that type of stuff. But that wasn't in Skeleton Crew, but it was really cool to see like some kind of things. Like, was that planet? I kind of lost this detail. Was that planet hidden this whole time since the High Republic?
They didn't really give us, and we've accomplished our goal within the first 10 minutes, which I
Oh,
kind
there
of
we
was
go.
assuming. So
Awesome.
we
The Zepho, that's what it is. Yeah,
oh yeah, the Zeppo. There you
the
go.
Zepho.
So
Think
the
she.
boys. Oh yeah, I didn't. Oh yeah, I didn't tell you what was going on. I just invited you to the stream. So anytime you want to come in and join and talk about your subscriber count, you go ahead and jump on in. But yeah, today was more about you than us. I just rallied some friends. Um, so it seems like there was it was kind of ambiguous,
Mhm.
right, as to uh, how long it had been, how long this planet had been kept secret. It was kind of ambiguous, and
Yeah.
and even in the last episode, it answered some questions, but then gave us more questions,
Yeah, it
right?
really
So there were
did.
some
Yeah.
answers, and then there were some more questions because in that last episode, we hear the supervisor, which we find out is just a droid, right? Is basically master control from Tron, is how I looked at
Yeah.
that droid. And in the original, guys, in the original Tron, not the new one. And it seemed like, okay, so I got the last message from the Republic was, basically Order 66, which great, but it didn't give us a starting point.
Right.
So it still left ambiguous. Was this High Republic times? Was this during, another Sifo Dyas kind of secret of secrets, the inner circle kind of stuff? We don't really know. It was left kind of ambiguous. So
Yeah.
as much as I have argued that it's like High Republic times, I'm saying even, potentially over 500 years, even before what we saw in Acolyte. I think it's even further back, right? But
Mm.
it's left kind of ambiguous. I think they did that on purpose,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it still was. I think it was very well received. Santa, I mean, you've got your pulse on what's going on with your connections. The temperature of this was really good. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's been very good as far as like social media interaction. The vast majority of it's been positive. there's certainly detractors, but even some of the largest influencers in the Star Wars space have been positive. I would say lukewarm to positive, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's like,
let's say as positive as the mainstream gets, let's say, right? Because I mean, the
yeah,
mainstream YouTubers and Twitter and all that, X,
yeah,
whatever
I
you
would
want to
say
call
so.
it.
You had the likes of like Thor Skywalker being positive, Star Wars Theory being positive. You know, those are typically more negative type folks on the newer content,
Sure.
and both of them were relatively positive. And then you had you know, those who are middle of the road, like Star Wars Meg was very positive on it, and then of course us shills, you know, we're always positive on all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't want to say troll, but I drift around X pretty frequently. I
Mm.
don't tweet very much. I keep my opinion to myself for the most part, but I do scour the Twitterverse, and this was the first time I didn't see much negativity. Of course, you're always going to see some because there are some channels that make their bread and butter on those negative views, and that's
Yeah.
how they navigate the space, and to each their own. But ultimately, I feel like as much as this show had no consequence, right? There's like it had no influence in the larger game. And I think that's something unique. I mean, not that we see. There's a lot of us making assumptions. There's a lot of, you know, a lot of what ifs coming in the near, but ultimately, this is pretty separate from everything aside from a couple of references here and there. So I think number one, that's what set the temperature so high. But at the same time, it feels like the lack of, and I always say this, but the lack of representation from the individuals opposed to the Lucasfilm PR vein, right? There was no Jude Law didn't come out with his agenda. John Watt didn't come out with his agenda and what he thought or this. So there was nothing for the personal outrage hunters to grab onto before the show aired. And then who wants to talk smack about a show with nothing but kids? I mean,
You know, I wouldn't put it past people. You know, there've been plenty of like Disney movies that have come out that, you know, they have children in them and people
okay,
just
but
get dragged, right?
who
So
doesn't?
it's I wouldn't put it past people.
Well, and I've said this before, like, you know, what person doesn't find Jude Law attractive? So number one, like automatically, like
Yeah.
everybody wants to like him even when he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that, he's great with the cast. So there's a lot of positive things that went on in this show, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of little pearls running around this whole place, with all the stuff in the treasure room, and then the map, and then are there other planets, and why was this one? There's just so much.
Definitely feels like there are more planets since we went to that one spoiler alert, right? We went to that one planet that was basically almost the same. They thought it was the same because they had the similar, you know, structure to their city, right? They thought they were home and they weren't home, right? I think that there are probably a few more planets out there, but you know, they left it open for a reason, right?
For sure. Oh,
Yeah,
did you
and
not?
they did that a lot.
Yeah.
Like they Jod's backstory, for example,
Hmm.
they left that open to tell. And in interviews they've done since, they've said, "Hey, that's for somebody else to tell at a different time. That's fine." Then there was at Aten and at Akron, all those 9 jewel planets. All of those were also, and my parrot is screaming.
You're fine. That's what this is for. There's no consequence to this.
But the 9 jewel planets, they left the background and how they rose and how they fell and all of that stuff. They left it open. What's the impact of all those credits now on the galaxy at large. Now that we've got
Correct.
vault after vault of credits, what's the impact of that? Where are we going to go from that?
Yeah.
Oh, here's the guy of the day. Hi.
What's up, Scotty?
What's up, Scotty?
Thanks, man.
How are you?
Thank you, guys.
Well, see, you almost ruined this. While Santa's taking a quick break, you almost ruined this by streaming so much every day, right? And so, like,
Anything else in?
We've been talking about this for a week, and then you're like, that's it. I'm making a run for the border. We're going to Mexico. Like, that's it. And so you kept like teeing it up, and I'm like, oh, well, this is going to be done in like 10 minutes. So cool. We'll do, but yeah. So welcome.
Yeah, no, it's kind of crazy because I feel like we've done this so many times for so many of our other friends, and I didn't ever think that my channel would be here. And it really, like, I thank YouTube because of the 500 sub goal, and being able to just kind of be able to give something extra to my community for the price of a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? It's cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool little thing. I am stressing the badge. So if anybody's following me,
I think I missed some information on YouTube. Did the requirements change for stuff?
Yeah, so
Oh,
they
wow.
lowered the requirements for channels to get started monetizing. So now if you're at 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch hours, they give you an intro to it, and then the last little bit of monetization privileges comes with your 1,000th subscriber and your extra 1,000
That's
hours.
dope, man.
But
Well,
what it
congrats.
really, what it really comes down to is like
Yeah.
the viewer and the streamer's direct relationship, and people who want to directly support you either through a monthly membership or through the super chats are something that they're
Right.
allowing a 500 subscriber channel to do now, because that's a huge community. Like
That's pretty
that,
big.
that is, yeah. And not for nothing, like the watch hours is 3,000 and the step above that is only 4,000.
Wow.
Eventually, when you get your communities to the size of some of you guys and you see the numbers behind the scenes, like that number doesn't even matter. It's just like you guys continuing to support, and even the people who lurk there. Like and people always like try to compare my channel. I have conversations with people. They compare me to Matt Cave. They compare to what I'm doing with these guys. And I love these kind of chats, but truthfully, like, I want to be a full-time live streamer, and I have the ability to do it. So
Yeah.
the more support you guys show.
Well, and that's what, it's funny because I see so many channels that just want to do it on their own. Right. And that's great. Do you, babe? Right. Like I'm all about, everybody doing their own flavor, but I've kind of enjoyed, and this is kind of when I started doing all this, there was a big community aspect to it, especially because we started here during COVID. We met the boys shortly after. So it kind of started as this whole community because we were all locked up in our basements with nothing to do, and we kind of all met each other during the pandemic. So it offers this community aspect. And then we did a couple of these for a couple of the other guys and a bunch of the other guys and a bunch of the other guys. And I enjoy doing this because I think this is what it should be, is a larger sense of community, not so much attacking at each other the way that a lot of channels do, right? There's some channels that make their money, slashing other channels or being negative or talking smack. That's cool. You do you, but we're going to try to be a little more positive in this space. And this is kind of what started this whole community unity thing, was bringing everybody in when somebody's close to a landmark, trying to get their subscribers in on it and see if they find something else they like that they can put in their feed. So that's kind of what this was built on. I know Scotty's been here for a bunch of them. But yeah, so we wanted to do one, and I wasn't going to tell you. Matt and I were sitting in the back going, I wonder if he's going to get there before Friday. Because it's like every day it's like, I got 2 more, I got 3 more. And it's like, are we going to be able to do this week? Or is we going to have to go early? Like, what's the shit? What's going on? So
yeah, I don't typically like brag about myself, but I put a call out to like my Facebook. So a lot of my personal friends are like, wait a minute, you're still doing this since 2021, like what you were saying. So, but for some reason, like Grand Theft Auto and specifically the role play side of it, like it's real. Like it really is real. Like it's a lot of memes and people being jackasses, but it's real. Like these are real people wanting to be cops. These are people who probably maybe grew up wanting to be a lawyer and now they can actually be a lawyer. If anyone ever remembers in high school, the like you used to do the like mock trials. That was my favorite thing in high school. Like there's people out here, grown ass adults doing it for real. And we're talking about serious crime and stuff. It's just so, it blows my mind.
I mean,
the amount of planning and community that is behind what we're doing even. You know what I mean?
I want to say kudos to you for sticking with it. Cause I remember when we were doing the group streams and you were kind of still trying to figure out what your channel was going to eventually become. And there was like a lot of groundwork you were still trying to lay there. You know, and a lot of us dipped out, but you kept going, and that's cool.
Yeah, I think we found our niche is kind of like the role play, the immersion, the like kind of escapism. I'm creating a world over there in every game I do, really, you know. Even the first person shooters that are more like military and intense, it's like they're intense because of the audio, because of the environment. Like it's cool.
Well, and I mean, not only that, but I mean, we've watched you have interactions with police officers in the world that you're living in,
and this is like my fourth city. Like we have had
Right.
multiple cities that have just completely fallen out from under us, so we are going to ride this city as far as we can into the future, and you know, hopefully work in some more variety once we get a consistent, you know, community that wants to just hang out every day in there. What up,
Yeah. And see, and unfortunately, I'm not able to do this from the studio today because I had some sick video clips that I was adding that I didn't get to add before I had to come to this undisclosed bunker location. So I didn't get to add all of the Hawk.
Yeah, where even are you?
Don't worry about that. This
Are you inside? Are you outside?
This is G14 classified. Don't worry about all that.
Is that a floodlight?
It looks
It's
like
something. Don't worry about that. I am not in a jail cell. I am
go
not
check
in an
behind your barn.
interrogation room.
Oh, he's in a jail, so he's like in the yard right now.
I promise I am not in the yard. I mean, my milkshake does bring all the Star Wars fans to the yard, but it's okay. What's up, Dan? It looks like you driving, man. You always make me so nervous when you drive.
No, he's parked.
Certified driver here. We're good. I've seen the notification, and you didn't see my message in chat, so I say, let me.
No, he's
pop
moving
through.
now.
He's moving. Don't let him fool you. He's moving, babe.
He's moving. He's moving.
Yeah, that shit's dangerous. I'm not gonna tell you, but if we see the phone start tumbling, we will call 911.
Anyone who's ever been serious about YouTube has made a car video. I don't want to hear it.
I've never made one. I never.
Oh, hey, listen.
Nerd Mafia's
Oh,
the goat at them. Yeah.
He's the goat for them, bro.
You got a lot of driving.
Matt, you guys see, I got to shout out Matt Cave because he's been a huge supporter too. But Matt Cave just posted a car video. It was like one of his first ones about Resident Evil. You guys should check that out.
Yeah.
But I'm like, way to go, Matt. We all start with car videos.
Well, the stuff you're doing the stuff you're doing right now is a lot of fun because, like you said, you're gonna have to pick a skill set soon, right? You're gonna have to start making monies and do that
We're gonna
whole
have to
thing.
start doing crime soon.
Right. Yes. I've watched your streams.
The other cool
There's a
thing
lot
too
going.
is that like
They're
this
fun.
is just one character. Like I do have the ability to create other characters, and we can, maybe not potentially devote as much time as it would take to a cop per se, but other small type of. My thing that I need to really like to take my shit to the next level is a voice or voices. I need to really find anybody that's voice acting. I actually know Santa. I think there's some people in your community that have done like trailer type voice work for even our
Inner world.
So I need help with finding a voice for sure.
I have a friend of mine who is a voice actor
I do as well.
as a profession. So
Yeah.
I can reach out to him and see what he might be able to do. But hey, I want to share a couple things real quick because I promised and I teased, and I see some folks here who stopped by from my channel earlier. And I teased a an exclusive leak for the Mando Grogu movie. It's not been shared anywhere before. I got permission to share it with you all today, and so here it is. The Mando Grogu movie, Mandalorian, will own a new Razor Crest. Right here behind me, you see the Razor Crest, but we've got that was blown up in the Mandalorian, and in the movie, he will get a new Razor Crest that he will own, and we'll learn more about it as we go. But you've seen in the trailer already where Zeb's flying the Razor Crest and Mando's standing behind him. Well, he's going to own it. So I can't give any more. There's a lot more about it to be known, and I'll leave that to my friends Bespin or Making Star Wars to share. So
Wait, there's a trailer?
That is some tea that you just
Are we
spilled
done?
all over the place.
Wait,
Yeah.
there's a trailer?
Well, there was a teaser that was played back.
Oh man, okay.
In-
I didn't know
in-
if any of that was new footage. Okay,
Yeah, there is new footage in that for sure.
noted.
Well, there you go. So we got, I mean, that was just for you, Scotty, because we were talking about this and Santa was like, you want me to drop some tea? And I'm like, yeah, spill some tea. Like, let's get there. So, I mean, I'm all about it. I love the Razor Quest. Don't get me wrong. The N1 is a fun little fighter, but the Razor Crest is just a sick transport vessel. I mean, I feel like at this point it's gaining as much notoriety as the Falcon, right? And I think that people love it that much. So
I
that's
didn't
exciting
hear
news.
the whole thing because I didn't want to get all of it spoiled necessarily, but I understand what's happening. And
Now, this is just
so does that
one
does that mean
small
there's going to
teaser.
be no N1? Like, is he going to get rid of it? He's like, screw that thing. I love this Razor Crest. You know
I'm
what
giving
I mean?
you one small little leak.
Like a
I'm
sliver.
not going outside of that.
For one,
I-
for sure.
Like
I
he's
know-
got lines.
Okay,
to color
from the
them.
footage I saw
need the
already, I
prediction.
think
I
that
know
was
so
already
much
kind of
more,
an idea.
but I can't share it. But I know how it ends. Right? I know the bulk of the movie, but I don't want to share that. I just have the one piece, and I asked for permission. It's a small piece because we saw the Razor Crest in that trailer thing, so I didn't want to go too deep because I've got friends who that's what they're known for, right? Bespin and Jason
Yeah.
from Making Star Wars. That's what they're known for. This is one that I own. It came to me and I vetted it through Making Star Wars. It's 100% verified, and I'm very, very confident that
We made it, Mom. We made it.
yeah,
We made it, Mom.
he's
there, Mom.
going to own a new Razor Crest. Super excited. What I'm still looking for some clarification on are the markings on the new one. If the markings are distinct from the old one, because then this gets to be a big deal for collectors who will want to have the new Razor Crest and the old Razor Crest for their collecting stuff.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it's just like it's kind of like all the X-Wings that people have collected across the years. You know, you get the different designs, the new style, the old style. People know the difference between the vintage years versus the new, Poe Dameron style X-Wing. So I think that's great because I mean, you look at the storyline, it was like somebody shot his dog, right? I think he would have been more upset. I don't think he could have been more upset if somebody actually would have shot his dog. So
Right. Right. Because you guys remember, this was a crowdfunded project, right? The Vintage
Yeah.
Collection Razor Crest. This cost us a few $100s to get hold
Yeah.
of, right? And it was a limited funded project. You had to buy in, and when it was done, it's done. You can't
Right.
go buy one of these Razor Crests from Hasbro. You can get them on the secondary market, but you can't get one from Hasbro. So
Right.
them having a new Razor Crest with a different markings on it mean that people who want to have that need to find some of the surplus ones that are out there.
Right. Well, and this is the, and I've been saying this for a long time, the idea that Disney makes its money off of Disney Plus is hilarious to me. So when people say, oh, well, they just spent $180 million on this and it didn't work out the way they thought it was. Well, yeah, it kind of did, because if it gives them something like this, if it gives them another line of merch, that's where Disney and Lucasfilm and Star Wars have really always made their money, is on merch. So go to a Star Wars Celebration, go to a Star Wars After Dark, and you'll see where they make their money when you see everybody carrying around bags of merch like Sheev did buying his Yoda saber at Star Wars After Dark. So, I'm just saying, sorry to air your laundry out, Sheev, but I know it's there somewhere. I know it's there somewhere. Yeah, I know it's there somewhere. But I mean, this gives an opportunity for them to make another gargantuan amount of money on merch, which I'm all for. Plus, the storyline is great because it's going to be like, I don't know if you guys are car people or boat people or plane people, right? But whenever I go to an air show and I get to walk along the planes I used to play with when I was in a previous life, and you run your fingers across something like an old car of yours or an old something that holds nostalgia, you get this feeling inside your guts that's pure joy, right? And we're gonna have one of those scenes where he's like running his fingers down the side of the Razor Crest, and you can almost see the smile under his armor.
You see his visor start to steam up.
You know what I mean? It's going to be one of those moments that's going to punch you in the gut, and I think that's what.
Well, and he can, he'll be wanting to take this other Razor Crest and modify it to be more like his old one, right?
Right.
Just like somebody who had that classic car back in the day, they sold it, they get the new one, and they want to make it like their old one. Right. It was the same
if
thing.
he doesn't find a carbon freezing store that does in-car repairs, I will be very surprised. If he doesn't go to our old friend Pelly on Tatooine and go, hey, where are the Jawas? I need a carbon. I need to make a carbonite freezing closet here. Can we make that happen?
Yeah. And now there's plenty more new merch coming with this movie. I'll tease that, but I won't share it.
I love it.
There's some more surprises.
Mando and
Yellow
Grogu
lightsabers,
for president
right?
2026. I'm all about it. Let's go.
What do we? Are you guys looking forward to that, or you think that's gonna be a flop?
Mando and Grogu?
Yeah,
Oh, it's gonna be good.
think so.
Oh, dude. Are you
Well, I
kidding
should
me?
ask. Did you like the last season of Mando where it was co-opted?
It was
by,
good,
like,
but
the
it-
Return of
it-
Mandalore.
It wasn't as good as the first two. You know what I mean?
It was a bad close.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
ending of it, the way they did the little Mickey Mouse. We've
Yeah,
talked about that plenty here too. Like that just was like, come on, guys. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
bad close, but it also left a lot of doors open. So
They'll be pulling him back in. I wish I could tell you guys more. I don't know that you want to know. Like I know the movie,
no.
right?
I'm
I know.
good, but
I know.
But I
all
will
the-
say what they have set up already with what they did in season 3, and then also what we have with Ahsoka, with Thrawn and Ezra coming back into the main galaxy. There's a lot of stuff that can happen in Mando.
well,
that could be
and
set
now
up.
with all the money running around, also now, right?
Yeah,
So
true
there's
that.
a lot of money running around that we don't know
Yeah.
whose hands it's going to end up in. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of opportunity on the board right now to bring more. I still, I mean, that's a couple. I think that's still at least a year and a half out, right? Maybe more.
maybe.
Yes, well, 15 months, so just over a year and a quarter, right?
Yeah, I'm curious
Yeah.
about how if and how Ahsoka gets back to the main galaxy, if that happens, or if she's
a
just
story,
gonna.
yeah.
or if she's
There's a
just
story
gonna-
to happen still, right?
Well,
I mean,
I should tell you guys, the Mando Grogu movie is the scope of the Mandalorian. It's not the scope of Ahsoka and the larger universe as a whole. It's the scope of the Mandalorian.
Okay.
So
I'm telling you guys, man.
I
I'm
think your
worried
bird
about
was
this movie.
upset about that.
I know that a number of
When
people
he- really-
are upset about it, but
When he asked
That's what
about
it is.
flop or not, like I think that's legitimate at this point. If this plot of this movie is isolated just like the show, I'm scared.
But
I
at the
don't
same
know.
time,
expect huge reveals and huge like plot points that take the story and take like giant leaps forward towards sequels and beyond. But
I think I think they're done with the galaxy building over movies for a while. I
Yeah.
mean,
so we're gonna get Skeleton Crew just movie.
if
But
it's a
more
fun,
action.
look, if it's a fun adventure that is enjoyable, right? You go to the movie, you have a good time. It's a fun movie. It's an adventure, satisfying. It'll be fine. It may not meet all the things that we might want it to meet in the scope of a larger story, but there is a point to just going to a movie to have fun, and hopefully it meets those objectives. It'll have people salty about not doing more, but
How do
I'll
you not do
personally be
more
happy.
though with what we have already? Like, there's no way to not progress either the Mandalorian's story, like the greater Mandalorian, like all of them together. There's no way to either progress that story or what else we have going on in the galaxy, or even Boba Fett stuff. Like, all of that stuff is the only way you really push this forward, unless it's literally just a fun Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which would, if that's the case, that would come way out of left field. But even then, there's no way, like,
well, that's
in a
what it is.
galaxy that has
It is
the
not the larger.
Empire.
It's not the larger Mandalorians, Mandalore, Bo-Katan, none of that. It's not Thrawn. It's not the heir to the Empire. None of that.
this is the rise of the First Order.
No, not well.
Can't say no
way
because I'm pretty sure that's in a
order
way.
or something doesn't have to do with it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
no
yeah.
way it's just bounty hunting and Mandalore, unless that's, and either way,
no,
you like
but
you said, they're getting brought back into the story somehow.
That's the
How is
bulk
that
of the
the
movie.
case?
There's just like you had in the Mandalorian season 2 or season 3, where there's some Imperial remnant or the Shadow Council that was in Mandalorian season 3. You get some of that. You're gonna get some of that, but it is. I promise you, it's a Mandalorian episode kind of blown up into a movie. That's
well,
what
I mean,
it is.
if anything, it just has to further things forward, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily need to, what Adventure of the Week, because that's basically, the gist of what a lot of filler is. But ultimately, they need to find new purpose.
If they make a
Right.
filler movie, they have lost touch with their fan base.
It will
completely.
move a couple of things forward. Like it takes
I'm
us
just
from.
saying.
I'll say it's
I'm
more of a bridge movie that'll take you from Mandalorian season 3 to wherever they're headed.
That's fine
For
though.
the-
That makes
for the-
sense.
Right, but
Filoni
that's-
movie.
But that's
Right.
what.
Wait, did you say the Filoni movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's
There's
what's
another
on
movie?
deck.
I thought this
Oh,
was
yeah.
the Filoni movie.
No, this is not
No.
a Filoni movie.
well,
This-
anything the
this is,
Mandoverse just screams
The
Filoni.
Filoni movie's
Favreau.
going to be
Yeah.
Heir to the Empire. Or
Yeah,
something.
this is the Favreau movie.
Okay.
And it's I'm telling you, it's a Mandalorian episode blown up. That's
Mm.
what it
Probably
is.
everything that he wanted to do in the show, just on a cinematic level. I just hope that
Yeah.
they open it up. Like, you have so much opportunity to open up even the pirate stuff, like they did here in Skeleton
mean,
Crew. Like,
yeah,
there's the
we've already-
whole
Well,
Outer Rim.
We already
But-
know Zeb is supposed to be in it, so it's like,
Well-
they're gonna tie in stuff and make it a fun.
Zeb was
adventure
in.
regardless.
Zeb was already in the Mandalorian, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it
yeah.
builds up to that. The thing is, to cross, I guess, IPs real quick. So Star Trek just released that movie, Section 31, which is a movie about like their clandestine group of individuals that act across the entirety of the Star Trek timeline. That movie I saw, spoiler alert, I saw it today. And it's, I hope it doesn't end up like that, where it literally feels like an episode of TV
Well, look,
that could have
if
just,
anything-
been in a,
if anything
show.
else, these people in particular
Mhm.
know how to shoot film.
Yeah.
Right. If we've learned anything over the course of the last couple years, is that these particular group of people know how to shoot films, full length feature films, and everything that they try to do in an episodic fashion comes out like a film. So for this to be a full length feature over the course of 90 minutes, that's actually a good thing,
Yeah.
because these group of people are used to shooting a movie and then cutting it up 8 ways to make it make sense. At least the tempo of this will feel right. And
Yeah.
we won't be sitting here going, well, what happened?
Well,
Right,
right.
there's some things
That's
that are
right.
going to be developed, like what's going on. Navarro, Grogu, he has some development. Din has some development.
We get some Hut stuff, right?
We all know that Zeb's in there. Yeah, you've got a Hut crossover bit of it. But again, that comes from all of this comes from the stuff that was already kind of been established, right? We had the Hut twins from before. We had some of these other things. So look, there is some progression. When we saw Mando last, he's sitting in his, cabin watching Grogu pick up frogs, right? You got to get from there to he's involved in the action, right? So some of this is going to happen.
Grogu
Well,
starts
but I-
talking more.
Blink
But I think-
twice if we get Cobb Vanth.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, if it's any indicator, I think this series has been the most receptive to the community as a whole, right?
Oh.
So ultimately, this has the best feel. Now, the third season didn't get what we wanted it to get, but ultimately, it furthered the story along, which is what we need, right?
Just by the
So-
way, I actually liked the additional stuff in season 3. I brought it up just to say, like, they kind of they ran wild with it, right? But I actually liked seeing that development.
There's a
and
lot
seeing-
of really good stuff in season 3.
yeah,
too.
like, though, even if people didn't like it, I enjoyed quite a bit seeing all those Mandalorians
No, I think it's really
go
good.
to
I
town
just,
and then retake.
I'll
their
even
planet.
say it's not as good as the first two.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
it's
but-
just because we had expectations from what those were, right? But like on its own,
nothing
It's
is
still
as good
really
as the
good.
original of
Yeah.
anything. Let's be real for a second.
Empire is better
No,
than
No,
I just want to touch
there's no
on that
original-
comment real quick because I think that alone would make the movie fire. Grogu's first words. Just do
Yeah.
that. I don't
Yeah.
care about anything else after that.
I mean, we kind of already saw him, but that's cool. I mean, it was kind of a mumble, but we
Do we
kind
get
of already
Luke
got
again?
him.
Is my question. Does he show up in the movie? That would be
Who?
I mean,
Luke.
Can
Oh,
I get
no.
the Battle of
That's
Jakku
important.
already?
Look, and I have permission to share this too. The big three are not in it.
Okay.
Luke is not in it. 100%. I can tell you straight up, not in
Shouldn't
it.
be.
Right? Han is not in it. There's been rumors of Han maybe being deep fake. They're in it. No.
That would be
I was
later
told,
on, I
Tell
would
them
assume.
no. That-
Not in this.
I was specifically told to tell everyone they're not in it. You're not going to get a Leia cameo, no Han cameo, no
Fascinating.
Luke
Yeah.
cameo.
But is
They're not in
any
it
of that?
whatsoever.
I don't really think that any of that's needed, right? I mean, I think that this arc has taken its own way through. Yes, they have used this to bring in more of the, let's call them, anchor characters, right? And so it's been an easy vessel to bring in, this to live, this to live, this to live, right? And to introduce them in that way. We've seen it 2 or 3 times at this point. So going forward, I don't need to see any of them because they already have all of their own. They have all of their own things going on. If this is specifically geared toward this one set of people, and then there are certain characters that we can't see on screen anymore. Specifically, this is the problem that this is the bigger issue for me that this series has more than anything, is that is that, hey, welcome.
What's up?
Is that
Hey, what's up, man?
unfortunately a couple of the actors have passed, right? So this doesn't, or moved on to lawsuits and other projects. So this doesn't show well for the development of characters, because there's only 2 left we can see on screen from the original series, right? This is a problem, right? Because you can only reference these 2 particular characters off screen that played a very large role in the development of the story. So
Yeah.
this becomes a continued problem with this company as a whole. Ray Stevenson, then we have obviously we can't see Gina's face on screen anymore, and then Carl Weathers, right? So these are all
Yeah.
big hits
Yeah.
that this particular show has a huge problem, right? And this particular portion of it has a huge problem, because now they have to. People are like, oh, we're going to get this bounty hunter, we're going to get this, and we're going to get this. You understand that that's needed, right? Because all the people that they put in place to help develop these characters are gone or dead.
Yeah.
So this creates, so you have to find, number one, you have to find a new villain, right? Because the other dude's dead. Like on screen, not in real life. Number 2,
Unless there are
can't
other
use-
clones.
Yeah, sure. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think we would have heard some of that nonsense in the metaverse by now, right? So you
Yeah.
got to come up with new villains.
They kept Moff Gideon's cloning stuff under wraps.
Give me a new
Oh,
villain.
I was talking about Gideon. Like he could come back as
Yeah.
could be more Gideon clones out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, they kept that under wraps in the
Could
third
also
season,
be that we
so-
think he's dead, but maybe he was a clone
as
who
I know.
died, right?
I mean,
maybe.
Yeah,
You know,
that's what I thought.
I don't think they're gonna make the same Palpy mistake that they've made over the last 10 years.
Somehow
right? So,
Gideon returned.
right.
Yeah.
I don't think that needs. Honestly, his death secures the story further, if anything, because the Shadow Council now has a new place to allocate resources
Yeah.
that leads to the First Order, that leads to where we're going to go. Because
He's
now
not
the cloning,
games.
all his cloning information, all his cloning data now goes to the council, who is now working on the bigger entity that is Snoke, and creating that clone. So the end of the series actually progressed us further than most people think, because if you look at the larger scale, all of the resources that were allocated to Gideon's whatever project is now all those funds and resources. There's no more infighting for it. Now there's one goal, and that's the stuff that
somehow
leads us,
Palpatine returned.
well, and the creation of the army, right? A consigned army from kids, right?
I would.
This gives us the money to be able to raise an army of
Yeah.
children.
I would be interested in a movie that develops the Snoke idea, like where he came from on screen, where he came from, how they put all of that in play, even if it doesn't end with you actually seeing, like having seen him be a big part of the movie, but you've like at the end there's a reveal, like okay, this is how he
But the
guy's
third-
alive.
the
The
third
teasers
season-
already.
Yeah,
The third season has already led us in that direction, right?
I mean,
Like,
sort
that's the
of,
great
but
thing.
I wasn't left with
Absolutely.
I wasn't left with the. I guess I
It
wasn't
was more, we
satiated
got more of the
enough with the
Gideon
details,
side of
right?
things
Yeah,
than
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's
more
what it was.
implications.
Mhm.
It's the larger implications, right? Because
Yeah.
now
Oh, for
you
sure.
you
And we got the
you see them.
teasers.
Well, yeah, you see them squabbling for resources, right? You
Right,
see this,
right.
all these warlords squabbling for resources. Well, now one of the larger pieces, the largest voice in the room, is now gone. But on the second side of that, we get the return of
Mhm.
the Grand Admiral at the same time. So then there's going to be another war between who gets the power here,
Yeah,
because
and
there's a
clearly he
vacuum now.
disappears at some point, right? Because he's not in the
Correct.
movies. He's not in the sequel trilogy, right? So unless he is, and he was just hiding
And-
in the background.
And disappeared is the proper word there.
No, I did
Not-
disappear
Not
because
disappear.
I had to flex this merch too. Give me the whole screen.
He wants
Oh,
it all.
I gotta shout out Matt
He
Cave
wants
because I
it
keep
all.
forgetting to show this off on my own stream, but I'm pretty sure this is a 1-of-1. I got a bomber jacket off his store.
Woo! Look at that.
Oh, you do have the bomber jacket.
Oh, it looks so good.
Oh, you do have the bomber jacket.
It's so good. It's so good.
Oh my god.
Well, and it's cold enough to where you need it where you
It's
are right
fire.
now. So it's actually
He's got like
more
18
warranted.
feet of snow around him right now.
Yeah,
negative
he's always
17 the
surrounded
past
by
2 days.
He's like walking
Sorry, I had to step away there.
shoulder
What did I
high
miss?
with snow.
I mean,
love
you
it.
know, Florida got snow, so let's talk about
Florida,
insanity across the East Coast. So
Yeah, my mom in
Um,
Louisiana sent me photos of snow. This is the first time that they've had like that much since the 80s when I was
That's
like a
crazy.
kid.
So I
Yeah.
want to rebound real quick because Matt hasn't been able to give us his impression of anything over the course of the last 6 to 8 weeks. And I know, you know, we've got everybody else's impression in here for the most part. I think it's important to hear what the Muggles have to say about, you know, because you watch you had to wait to watch with the Muggles, right? And
So
so
are we
I'm
talking
curious
Skeleton
what the
Crew?
yes, sir.
Yeah. So I
The floor is
watched
yours,
it
please.
each week, but some of the days got delayed because it was one of those rare times where my wife wanted to watch something Star Wars with me because it was different. It wasn't like the movies, which she like, you know, she doesn't hate them, but she's not, you know, she's just a casual, you know, viewer of it. So I watched it with her and we both enjoyed it a ton. I mean, we grew up with things like the Goonies and now she watches Stranger Things. That's her obsession, by the way. If Star Wars to us, Stranger Things is that for her. And so to see those elements come into the show, we had a blast watching it. I think the kids did a great job. I think Jude Law was phenomenal in it. But you know what it was? The thing that really surprised me was that the show got a lot deeper than I ever had expected it to be. You know, I just expected a fun adventure running around with these kids and that, you know, go from point A to point B, find the treasure, do all this stuff, and then call it a day. But now I'm actually left with wanting more. And I hope we get more. But my concern is how Lucasfilm and Disney handles their budgets. I don't think we'll get another season of it. I think we're going to see this show continue, or at least the story from this continue in comics and potentially in animation. But I would like more of it. It was good.
Matt,
Well, I
Cave,
mean,
you are spot on there. And I mentioned this to Star Wars Meg the other day. The budget and the ROI on these live action shows, all of them, that is just not there to continue pouring money into that. Publishing is the future for these stories in large and movies, right? So you get things like the Mandalorian Grogu, that'll pay for it, right? You'll break even, you'll make, you know, 50 million, something like that, whatever, and you're out, right? And then you can put it on Disney Plus. But for those other stories, be it you know, the Acolyte or the Skeleton Crew or any others, they're going to be publishing's going to be leaned on because the budget is much lower. Sure, the return is lower as well, but there's just no way they can keep throwing money in the hole like that.
Speaking of
hold
publishing,
on. I'm gonna say this as more of the naysayer in the room for this. I think that movie's gonna lose money. And I think there's going to be a big surprise that movie's going to lose money. And people are going to be outraged that the movie loses money. And that's and I say that reluctantly because I want things to succeed. But that movie's going to lose money. In the theaters, doesn't matter whether you put it streaming or you put it in the theaters, it's going to lose money. Like regardless of how much I want it to succeed. And when dollars come to donuts, here's the problem. And I've been saying this for months, potentially
I don't think
years.
she thinks it's going to lose money.
I think the bigger issue is we see these huge dollar amounts, right? I think the latest one with Marvel was what, $180 million on Hulk and the winner or the new Captain America, Hulk, Winter Soldier. Hey Daniel, welcome to the party. Thanks for joining. People were surprised at the dollar amount. What we're forgetting as fans and as people who are watching this stuff and then being in awe of the amount of money that they're spending, you have to remember practical effects are much cheaper than anything mocap, CGI, or any of that. And a lot of these projects have an abundance of CGI, have an abundance of mocap. That stuff costs, I'm going to be generous and say double or potentially triple what practical effects cost. So
Well-
seeing The Acolyte, seeing Skeleton Crew, seeing these newer movies come out with these huge budgets, there's a lot more money that gets spent with computing time. With these animators cost big dollars, right?
Well,
Shamukin things.
counter that just a little bit. The Movie Web's reporting the budget for Mandalorian Grogu is 120 million. That is
Currently.
what we've got to be talking about. We've got to get these budgets under control. You're spot on. The 240 million and 280 million, that kind of budget just is not going to happen. But if you can pull it in at 120 million, double it for
I don't think that'll be the end all dollar amount. We're still
If
18
you
months
get-
away from
I want to
releasing.
say I don't know if I trust that because they're reporting that Captain America, Brave New World's budget's like 180 million.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now with reshoots and all the shit that's in there, like sorry, Chris,
Yeah.
all
Well,
the like,
yeah, you, can
CGI
do that. You can do any of that here. You could say all the big boy, all the big girl words you want. There's no application here.
Okay.
You don't get put in the no songs. There's none of that. You're free.
I shall
If
continue.
they can make 500 million, if they
all
can
the
make
shit's in
500
that
million
movie-
in box office, it'll square.
Well, what I'm
yeah,
saying is that I think that number is a fallacy. I think that whoever's giving that number at 180 million dollars being for the budget for that movie is lying. There's no way that that's the budget of that movie. They have a CGI Hulk in there. There's probably more than one of them in that movie. They just haven't shown it yet because they don't want to ruin the whole movie, right? They showed you one of the Hulks, which is the newer one that's going to appear. They have another villain returning from the previous Hulk movie in the leader, which is also going to be CGI. You have Sam Wilson, who's, Captain America and Falcon, right? He's got these CGI wings. They have a second Falcon now with CGI wings. And I said this all on Twitter. There's a big ass dead celestial in somewhere in the ocean that they're gonna revisit, right? There's I'm just saying.
You're not wrong.
Then you have cleanup work for visual effects, not even just comping and things like that, which is expected to happen. They have
You're
to actually
100%
remove
right.
all this.
But-
That's like no way that budget's 180
But-
million.
but
And they
here's the
have
thing,
reshoots.
How do you equate? But okay, here's the thing. I get it with the movies
Yeah.
because you talk about box office purchases
Yeah.
and then you talk about streaming purchase through Apple or Google or whoever's throwing it out there on their platform for you to download. Cool. You have with movies, it's easy.
Mhm.
Okay, this was the budget. This is how much we did worldwide. This is how much we did streaming. Here's
Right.
the end all. How do you dictate that with streaming platforms? How do
You
you
can't.
say it made its money back? Because these are write-offs. They are not intended to further the company along. All of these shows on Disney Plus
Yeah.
are write-offs. They look at them as a
Mm.
loss because streaming is still an experimental platform for a lot of these companies. So like I get it with the movies. You have this much money you spent on actors and everything, and here's the end budget. Here's what you made at the box office. Here's what you made streaming. Here's your residuals.
Yeah.
Everybody makes their money. It's easy to see black and white. But with streaming,
It's hard.
there's no data to say how much money was made or lost by that show. So it's kind of
weird.
I use this
I
loosely.
will
It's
say
a double
It's weird,
entendre.
yeah, it's weird.
To
Right?
just to counter a little bit, not that you're wrong, Quentin, but
Mm-hmm.
like they do a lot of those visual effects stuff you're talking about, like years in advance with previs. I don't know if you know what that is, but
Yeah. I mean, I work.
so
in-
there's not really
Yeah,
reshoots all the
yeah.
time for all
Mhm.
the fighting and stuff that they have to do.
No,
with a
I
lot
know,
of
I get
CGI.
that. I get that.
What
but the
it is
reshoots
when they're changing storylines in
Yeah.
the MCU
Yeah.
and they're like,
But
all right,
those
we need to
people
pay
still-
this actor.
I'm saying reshoots are expensive because they have to bring out a whole crew. There's a bunch of PAs they need
Sure.
to hire. There's
I
like
think it
people who
costs.
pull
I think it
cables.
costs more to
Yeah.
re-CG or mocap a scene than
Yeah.
it does to have the actors come back out and shoot a pickup.
Yeah.
I really do. I think
saying.
the hours behind computer screens, not to mention the server farms they have to buy for these things because they must use exabytes as much shit as they're
Yeah.
shooting, right? So
Yeah.
there's this huge dollar amount that people are oblivious to because they want to put the blame on somebody. Oh, they lost $380 million.
Yeah.
Do you know how sick that show was for $380 million? Right? Like it's a write-off at the end of the day because streaming is still a giant experiment,
Yeah.
right? They can't dictate how they make money on streaming other than the subscribers. And you can go by, okay, $14.99 100 million subscribers. Okay, this is what you made this month. But ultimately, how much you spend versus how much you make back on the streaming platforms, those are two separate equations that are going on. And the fans want to latch on to this huge dollar amount, and then they don't realize that you're paying actors millions of dollars, you're paying locations, you're paying this, you're paying that. There's a lot of money that goes into just movie making nowadays. That's why movie making is so hard.
I would be curious to see the numbers on, well, to see how Gladiator 2 made any money from streaming, if it did, because Gladiator 2, I know, was like, to me, was an abysmal theater run, I should say. I didn't see it in the theaters. I saw it once it got to Paramount Plus, and I thought it was a great movie for Paramount Plus, but I don't think I would have seen it in the theaters. Not to say Denzel Washington wasn't great, and he was awesome, but
but at the same time, look, you look at Netflix. Netflix has, if you look at a lot of the projects, Netflix isn't. Yes, they do some originals, but some of their hottest stuff is done by Sony, is done by these other production companies, right? And so they're putting out this awesome content, but not all of it is theirs, right? Disney, all of it is theirs in-house, whether it's Lucasfilm or Marvel or whoever. It's all in-house. It's all under one umbrella. So they don't have to pay out Netflix to put it on the air, right? Sony.
So how come no one blames Kevin Feige when Phase 4 flops, but everybody blames KK when movies flop?
Everybody blamed Kevin Feige.
I blame Kevin Feige.
What are you talking about? They were like, why did you put these people in charge?
They didn't.
Oh, yes, they did.
Okay, to the point. In our very intelligent, very well thought out community, we all agree. But that was not the agreement.
to the point where he even went so far as to make himself a joke in the worst show they've done, that is She-Hulk, making Kevin a droid.
You're talking about
right?
write-offs. I mean, come on, the She-Hulk comics suck too.
I'm going to be an outlier here. I actually, or outlier, how do you say it? I actually like She-Hulk for what it was.
Think it's not that bad. For what it is,
because I wasn't someone coming outside of the realm of comic books who saw it. I was somebody who went into it.
With that.
Yeah, I went into it watching it and say, hey, you know what? I know the comics. I'm going to watch this and take what I know this should be. But I know people who didn't would be like, what the hell is this? I'm used to this other shit that we got in the movies.
But at the same time,
you're going to sit here and tell me on this community stream that Matt Murdock doesn't want another shot?
I mean,
we got a Daredevil show coming out.
Why wouldn't you?
But at the same time, look, it comes down to, this is the big misconception. This is why the videos and the articles that come out about budgets are, unless it's a movie, unless it's a full-length feature that's going to the theaters, it's a moot conversation. Because streaming, yes, you can count subscriber count, right? How many people are buying your service per month, blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't really equate to how much money they're making off of the series, because there's no Nielsen scale anymore. There's no ads that people have to watch through. There's no, there's so much stuff that they're not making money on, because you're just getting to watch it straight through for $11.95 a month, right? Whatever the cost is. That's not how they measure success in this streaming world, right? The dollars and cents are not what it's about. Viewership, not everybody has Disney Plus. So you can't say, oh, well, I have 3 people in my house that are not Disney Plus subscribers. That's 3 more people's eyes that are talking about it in the real world, right? It's such a BS conversation, and it's such a scapegoat for the clicks and the personal outrage hunters to get their clicks on, because it's such a moot point in 2025.
I've always said that money, even this, all of that stuff aside, I've always said this when I did stream, that no matter how much money some of these companies are losing, where they're making their money at is in a place that we can't really imagine, because we're of an age that we don't really care about certain things as much as a kid might. But there's some children out there who might see something that we think is abhorrent or like just terrible, and they might love it. And then they'll go out and they'll buy all the toys.
Exactly.
They'll buy all the merchandise they can for that stuff. And it will not matter how terrible we thought the story was. It won't. Because if a child likes something, even a little bit, and they see that in a Target, or they see that in a Walmart, or they see it anywhere while they're in that checkout aisle, or like going through this, like my kids, when I bring them to the store for things that they've never seen before, it's like if it's a certain color, or if it looks fluffy enough, or if it's got a certain look to it, it just has a certain thing on the package. Hey, what's that? Oh, I like those, Dad. Can I get one of those? Or like, what is this over here? Like they will immediately turn
I mean,
and go to pick
do
that
you
thing
really
up.
think that Disney isn't making their money on Lego Star Wars?
Oh man, they're making hand over
Right?
fist.
Do you,
you know?
do you not think that they're
The
Well,
time with
look,
Lego
man,
is
I'm just
money.
saying, look,
Yeah.
this show may have done
Yeah.
whatever numbers it did. The fact that I see the Onyx Cinder in a Lego set at Target and
I
Walmart
was gonna say
Mhm.
that's gonna be a thing. For
shows
sure if it's
me
not.
Yeah.
shows me how much they're vested and how much profit they're making off of
Yeah.
the platform,
You
right?
guys ever read that book, Pale Blue Dot?
Yeah.
Across eight? No. Oh yeah, you have. Yeah. So like basically, just not to give it, make it a small book or anything, but it's like the gist of it is like we're a tiny little planet amongst like
That's it.
so much, right?
Mm.
That's what you can think about yourself as somebody who reviews movies, right? You're a tiny little planet
Right.
amongst like an entire universe of opinions. And
Look,
there
I've
are
said it-
like so many out there where they're like,
I've
I don't
said it
care. Just give me
for
the product.
so long.
You know?
The idea of the platforms like Twitch and
Mhm.
Kick and YouTube and even now Twitter and Instagram that are doing more live stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, you're a grain of sand on the beach, right?
Let me
In
just
today's
piggyback
market.
off of that. The gaming side of things, like a lot of people don't know how many companies actually own percentages of what they own. So everybody who is out there, like the people that are out there, they're like, oh, TikTok, it's Chinese. I'll never be on TikTok. Good riddance. Blah 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 blah. The day that went down, Marvel Snap, the mobile game, also
Yeah.
went down because that
It went
company-
down.
So another side of this too is that same company, 40% of Epic Games, 30% of Larian Games, which was the new Baldur's Gate. So the money, we don't know about the money. We don't know
Well,
what Lucasfilm's got their hands in all these other smaller
but
game
But it's the
IPs
same
and
thing with Disney. Absolutely.
they're
I'm going to
printing
piggyback
the
off you.
checks.
But I'm
They
going to
own so many
piggyback off you
companies.
because Disney owns what 48% of Epic Games now. It's a ridiculous number that
Is
they
it that
own.
high?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
they got a good percentage.
They got a good fat percentage. It's
Yeah.
not like owner stake. It's not 51, but it's in the 40s, if not the high
They're
40s.
Practically
It's enough
in
to bring in the money. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're I wouldn't say they're in the driver's seat, but they're definitely co-piloting right now.
Oh,
They have the
they're
right to
definitely-
an opinion.
Yeah. They're definitely, if they're not steering the bus, they're navigating, right?
Mhm.
Like they're definitely and so my point being is
no,
this
to
is
the
this is another, this is what I'm saying though. All of the money they're making, if they did a Neo skin in Fortnite right now, I would buy that shit.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's great.
if there's a stranger, there's a Squid Game skin in Call of Duty. These companies are not making all of their juice on just you coming and watching the show and clicking. They're
No.
making their money on the back end on these video games. Epic just did a big thing. Do you think that Disney doesn't appreciate that Rivals is doing so well? Right?
Mhm.
Like there is more money behind the scenes that is getting mopped up by the mouse than everybody wants to pay attention to.
That game
And
is
it-
so
and-
well made that there professional leagues being made around it. Like you don't
Yeah.
get that. You don't get that with like Fortnite. There's no professional
They-
Fortnite league. There's, it's very rare that you get a game that's that competitive.
I mean,
On
there's
a-
some big
on a
money.
scale-
There's
Professional
bro,
Fortnite
where-
players, but
But on a scale with like I'm talking like Counter-Strike, like these big
right.
competitive
League of Legends,
Right.
League of Legends,
I was
things like
gonna
that.
say,
Yes.
Yeah.
they've got
but at the same
commentators on the Twitch channels going crazy like it's WWE, you know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying. But that's not where this is. $180 million to produce a show to make a splash across gaming and across television and across news and social media.
Basically
That's the-
modern marketing dollars, basically.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's basically
Disney
money.
Plus is a marketing machine.
Yeah.
Right. If you
Yeah.
really think about it, if it doesn't do well, you know what they do? They grab it, they ball it up, and they throw it in the trash.
and they
right?
say,
They
next.
did it.
Yeah.
They did it with the Mighty Ducks Game Changer. They did it with Short Shot. They did it with all of these shows that didn't do well because they released them in a really bad time. All of these shows that got the boot, it's because they didn't succeed, and they count that as a marketing loss. That is a red line
Yep.
on a very large market sheet. Right? So continuing to focus on $380 million. Yes, is that an absorbent amount of money for a television show?
That is,
Absolutely.
yeah, that is a lot. Yeah, but
If you look at the product,
Guys, I
the
gotta go
product's
too.
fantastic.
This
Yeah,
is cool.
I'm-
Keep
Hey,
keep
dude.
this conversation
Well,
going. I love seeing it.
No,
Congrats,
this
man.
was all for you. So we're gonna get out of here and let
I
everybody
didn't mean to
get
just
to
cut
the thing.
everybody off.
No,
but-
no. This is the time that I allocated for this was just for you. So let
You
us
know, I
know
was-
how the progression goes.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
wondering
dude.
if I wanted to come back and do this kind of thing. You know,
You should
But,
join us more.
no, I'm saying like even on my own. You know, it's just
Yeah,
it
man.
takes a
Do it.
lot, but
Do it.
Yeah.
it's fun. Yeah,
Even if
Do
it's
it,
every
get
once
back
in a
out
while,
there.
man. We're all you
Look,
know,
man.
it's like the great William Wallace himself said.
freedom.
Hold!
Oh,
Well,
okay.
and
Just hold
And
for
at the
me.
s-
That's all I ask.
at the same time, look, here's the thing, if you look at the biggest streamers in the world,
Yeah.
day by day, right? Even the biggest one in our space, 3.1 million people are subscribed to that person.
Mm-hmm.
Show me anything that person does that gets more than 1% viewership. This game is about 1%. If you could get more than 1% of your people to continue to watch what you're doing, that's a success. And if you're looking at numbers, don't. It's a 1% game. Look at the biggest streamers in the world.
Yeah.
They're capturing 1% of their complete community at a time on their streams, whether it's live or whether it's video. So don't get discouraged. It's a 1% game. Stay frosty. Stay out there. Keep
I
doing it
Hungry.
Yes,
because
sir.
it's a 1% game. If you have 10 subscribers and you get one person in there, you're winning.
I'm about to start
keep-
a new
Keep that in mind.
a new
I
channel
know.
called Fandom
Outta here.
Flow. So I'll be back on soon.
Nice.
All right, boys. Well, we're going to get out of here. I appreciate everybody stopping by for Scotty. This was a big day for you. So
Congrats, Scott.
we'll
Yeah, man.
we'll talk
stick
to you
with me.
soon.
We'll keep going. We'll keep growing.
Keep
Yeah.
keep up the work, boys. We'll see you soon.
Later.
All right, y'all take
Bye
care.
bye.
Much love. Congrats, bro.